There's something ancient about untouched land. Walk through a thriving forest and you can feel it. The air is thick with life. The warm, familiar scent of damp earth rises as you step forward. The ground beneath you is not dirt, it's alive. It breathes. You can feel it. It's spongy. Do you remember that feeling? A universe of unseen interactions is going on below it. It hums beneath the surface from the decaying leaves to the microscopic networks that sustain everything above it. Now picture this: a vast, dry field, chemically treated and tilled into sterility. The ground is hard, cracked. Dig into it and you'll find nothing but dust. It holds no scent, no energy, no life. It's actually dead. It's actually dead dirt. What happens to the soil happens to us. How we treat the soil is going to have a repercussion to us. Before industrial agriculture, before the chemical revolution, before food became an engineered product, soil was not merely a medium for growing plants. It was an intelligent, symbiotic system designed to sustain and regenerate life. Every inch of soil contains trillions of bacteria, fungi networks extending for miles. This is a communication network, and the the microbes is proverbial superhighway. And of course, microorganisms breaking down organic matter, um, cycling minerals back into plants. Underground fungal networks form vast communication systems allowing plants to share resources, transfer minerals, and warn each other of threats, like an ancient biological internet. Certain bacteria extract nitrogen from the air. They rise up when the plant root asks for nitrogen. The microbes break down atmospheric nitrogen, bring it to the plant, and when the plant is done drinking from it, it releases it back into the air, getting the perfect amount. This is an example of just one of millions and millions of transactions that are going on below the soil that we hardly have the full knowledge or grasp of. The presence of living microbes didn't just feed plants, it triggered biochemical pathways, enzymatic activity, enhancing nutrient density and making minerals bioavailable for organisms that consume them. The result? A harmonious exchange where soil fed plants, plants fed animals, and life thrived in an interconnected web until we broke it. Then came industrial agriculture, a system designed for mass production, not biological integrity. Synthetic fertilizers replaced living soil. Instead of allowing microbes to cycle nutrients naturally, we dumped highly concentrated synthetic fertilizers into the ground. Growth was accelerated, of course, but the microbial balance was thrown into a complete disarray. Pesticides and herbicides wiped out life, such as glyphosate and other chemicals. These weren't just eliminating pests that we wanted eliminated above the ground. They were eliminating beneficial bacteria. They were disrupting the delicate web that made soil self-sustaining. And then monoculture farming stripped the land. Instead of rotating crops to maintain balance, we planted the same crops repeatedly, draining the soil of specific nutrients and leaving it exhausted and biologically empty. The soil became lifeless. And instead of restoring it, we just engineered plants furthermore to survive it, creating genetically modified crops that could withstand depletion but offered fewer minerals, fewer enzymes, and less nutrition in return. Far be it for us to absorb pesticides and synthetics into our cells as nutrition. When you eat food grown in dead soil, you're eating something already starved for life. When what happened um, to the disappearing soil microbes is happening to us. The same forces that stripped life from soil, from land, have also stripped microbial diversity from our own gut. Think about it. Soil microbiomes and the gut microbiomes function in a very similar way. Both rely on diverse microbial populations to break down complex compounds and extract nutrients. Food grown in microbiome deficient soil lacks the probiotic bacteria that once seeded our gut. This means that even if we eat healthy food, it lacks the living microbial intelligence once present in natural ecosystems. Antibiotics, processed foods, and synthetic additives are doing to our gut what pesticides are doing to the soil. We've created a sterile environment, one that no longer recognizes real nourishment and relies increasingly on pharmaceutical intervention. The good news? Biology is resilient. Just as soil can be regenerated, so can our gut microbiome, but it requires rethinking. It requires rethinking everything we've been conditioned to accept about food. Instead of relying on synthetic inputs, we can restore microbial life through composting, crop rotation, and soil inoculation. The richer the soil's biodiversity, the richer the food, and the greater the microbial diversity that is further passed to us. Creating real unprocessed, eating real unprocessed fermented foods reintroduces microbial diversity into our digestive systems. There, there are there are microbes that we haven't even named yet that are still yet to be discovered, species that might hold the key to health we've long forgotten. And so to incessantly apply synthetic inputs into the soil is being irresponsible at best. This isn't just about farming, it's about how we are currently restructuring life. The expansion of megacities, the paving over of soil, the paving over soil, the expansion of monocropping, both of these are in expansive modes today. Both of these are expanding dead zones and breaking nature and overlaying man made systems, destroying the symphony of nature in return. The growing divide between humans and the natural world is growing. While part of the same cycle, this is overriding a critical piece that we may not be able to return from. For example, to give you context here, there are 1 billion microbes in 1 teaspoon of soil. Imagine how many there are on an acre of land, and then a hectare of land, and so on. There are galaxies and galaxies and galaxies of microbes living in our land. If we wage a war on this species, on this very diverse species underground, who do you think will win? Are we willing to acknowledge the connection? If we don't restore microbial life to our food systems, we're not just talking about weaker plants, we're talking about weaker people. We're talking about biological dependence on synthetic interventions instead of real nourishment. We're talking about a future where food no longer feeds us, but merely sustains a broken system. And at that point, will we even recognize what we've lost?